Hello guys, yesterday I mentioned white label in my video. One of my subscribers reached out to me, who normally discuss with me, and we talked at length about white labeling because she's interested in starting up some business. So today I decided to create this video to talk about white labeling, private labeling, and reseller product, and also when you should choose which of them. So you need to know when to choose to resell product, when you choose to do white labeling or private labeling. Some people have used white labeling and private labeling interchangeably, but in reality they are not the same. And some people have defined them wrongly. Some people say that private labeling has to do with product and white labeling has to do with services, but in reality they are not true. This is not true. Okay, so I want to talk about this misconception and give you the right definition, what they are, but then most especially when to choose to do white labeling, when to choose to do private labeling, and when you might also decide to do reselling. So guys, when you talk about white labeling, it means that you do not have control over the product design. You do not know what goes into the product, you don't determine how the product is going to be designed. You are not determining the technology that is involved or anything special, except that the product has to be labeled in your name, in your brand. So I can say that white labeling is just branding. Okay, just going to some product designer and say, make this product for me and name it after my name. So you can name it after your name and have the product. They ship it to you. But the difference is that when they do this for you, they as well supply someone else. They are not liable to supply to you alone. You don't have any contract that will stop them from shipping or selling the same good to another person in his own name also. So which means that they can actually produce this good, must produce it and give you, brand it in your name, brand it for someone else in his name, even 10 people. So at the end of the day, you all compete against one another, right? Yeah, so but in the case of product labeling and private labeling, what private labeling do is that you determine the technology, you determine what goes in. Even if you're not really a designer per se, you don't have all the technology, but you determine what you want them to design for you, how you want it to be designed, and all of that. So they can only make that product only for you. They are not able to produce it for someone else. They cannot sell it to someone else, they cannot ship it to someone else. So it's like a product you have a patent for. Let me give an example. Let's say that you have a certain recipe for pastry, but you don't make pastry. But you have the recipe, you know what you want it to be, how you want it to be. So you say, okay, my pastry is going to be Mr. John's pastry, but I will go to a bakery that can make pastry. Then I will tell them what to make for me. I'll give them my recipe and they have to create that pastry in my own recipe. So they will do that. That is private labeling. It's totally different from when someone makes pastry and you make a nylon, you go say, package it for me in this nylon, sell it to me, then I'll sell it. So that is the simple difference within black labeling and private labeling. If you want to look at this, you can see it in cable companies like DSTV and all of that. They are into white labeling. When they design their product, they get retailers, okay? But not just retailers, they brand them like they are DHL, DSTV. In their office, you see they put DSTV, and you see the dish, everything is, the uniform is DSTV. They train them on the product, how to install it, how to handle the product. At the end of the day, they do it, but they are not really DSTV. They are just some middlemen that were used to brand as DSTV. So even when you call and there is a problem in DSTV, you call DSTV direct. They'll say, okay, our people will come. Then they will call the customer center, which has installed that DSTV, which is near you, to go and resolve the problem. So they can take your call on your behalf and get back to you. And so there is a great synergy with private labeling compared to white labeling. They're able to take a level of responsibility, and all of that, including warranty, providing warranty, and a number of other things. So those are just like an essential or a simple definition of white labeling and private labeling. And very importantly, someone may ask, which of them is expensive, white labeling or private labeling? If you look at it, in white labeling, what do? They're going to produce their product, they're going to manufacture their product in whatever number they want, and they sell it to different people, right? They already have what it takes to manufacture their product, the technology, the equipment, the tools, the system, and everything. But in the case of product labeling, private labeling, they do not have what it takes to give you exactly what you want. If it is technology, they have to adapt to your technology. They have to study your system, what you want. They have to communicate several times to, get exactly what you want. If, for example, they have to produce, let's say, a phone, they have to make a mold for you, right? They have to create certain things, certain parts for you. So this will take them a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of resources to create. So for them to be able to achieve this, it's going to be expensive, more expensive than product, than white labeling. But it has its own advantage. You're not going to compete with people in the market. You're not going to compete among other people who are doing white labeling, because this is your own product. You're going to determine how you want it. You're going to determine the market price. No one else will determine the market price for you, okay? Even though you might have some other things like competitions from external sources to make you to bend to certain price, but at least you have the market to determine. You determine your sales channels, your sales channel, all of that. So that is about product marketing, white labeling, and product and private labeling. Now I want to talk about the factor that will make you to decide which of this is right for you. Now before I go in there, the third one which I have to talk about is reselling. In the case of reselling, you go source for a supplier, you buy the product, you supply to people, okay, and make some profit. This is like hassle-free, doesn't give you a lot of headache, but then you compete also with people. But apart from competing with people, you see that in this case, you're afraid of insecurity. You're just afraid maybe tomorrow they will kick you out and get someone else selling their product. And people are always afraid to reveal who is the manufacturer, because they're afraid that if I reveal the manufacturer, these guys will go and talk with the manufacturer and start getting production done directly by the manufacturer. So there are this fear in reselling products. So now, which of them is best for you? Well, I'll tell you why you can choose when to choose private label and when to choose white label. Okay, number one, you choose private label when you have already designed a product. So if you have designed a product and your problem is just where to manufacture it, and you're now ready to start manufacturing it, you can choose private label, because private label will help you to manufacture a product the way you've designed it until when you will be able to manufacture the product yourself, okay? Yeah, so number two is the product you design is superior than what you can get from any white label product. So if you already design a superior product, you think your quality is great, you've done some, let's say, yesterday I talked about some underwears, and you've done some nice underwear that you think that if you could produce this, how you produce it, so you can ask them to produce for you in that way, and that is your own product. They're not going to sell it to any other person. And by so doing, you're able to beat the white label product, because you're actually having a more superior product than is in the market, and you become notable in the market. So then you choose private label. You also choose private label if you intend to manufacture a product, but for some reason you're not ready yet. Probably you don't have the infrastructure, the resources, or some limiting factors like raw materials and all of that. So you can at that point choose private label, okay? Then you can also choose private label when you need to reduce the manufacturing cost due to low volume, or reduce expenses in establishing manufacturing operations. So if you have some perfect idea on how to reduce manufacturing costs, maybe because you've invented your technology in such a way that you can bypass certain parts, then you should think of and you should choose private labeling, okay? Now let's look at when you should choose white label. Yeah, you should choose white label when you want to get into the market faster. You don't really have enough time. I think that you just want to get into the market today and tomorrow. You need product manufacturing immediately, because you won't be able to design, make all the R&Ds and all of that here, right? So again, is if you don't have R&D budgets, you cannot do research and development. You don't have the budget, then you can choose white labeling, because research and development will cost you a lot. Okay, you can also choose white labeling when you have a brand demand but not product to fulfill it. So probably someone needs t-shirts and you don't have the product to fulfill t-shirts, so you go for white labeling. Label it, brand it to your name, and supply it. Okay, you aren't and don't want or need to be an expert in a specific product. You're not willing to learn a skill. You don't have the skill and you're not willing to learn it. Then you choose white labeling. And lastly, you can choose white label to meet quality requirement. Probably for some reason you don't think your quality, or you have the technology that can boost your quality so quickly, so you might decide to choose white labeling. Okay, so you can see this like in a nutshell comparison with a white label, private label, and reseller service. Okay, and we can look at this too in details, to see how this works. There's something else I would like to point out before I wrap up this video. There is a drawback in white label. Okay, for white label, you choose an existing service, but you don't control or specify service offerings. Okay, but many white label companies offer a wide range of product actually, because some of them are big, so they can give you a wide range of products, but still it doesn't give you an opportunity to define it the way you want it. But for private label, you could actually specify the range of product you want and how you want it. Okay, some white label company, let's say you are talking about phone, they can just produce Android phone, and the Android phone they produce is only with these specific features. But if you are doing private label, you can actually specify the features of your Android phone. So this is why it looks good and easy for it looks great to go into private label too. Both of them have their advantages. Okay, yeah. So that is about all of these products. Okay, and what are some of the benefits? Like I've said, the drawback. The benefit of private label, you don't have to be an expert to start white labeling. You don't have to design or your own process or provide any training. Okay, then you can get superior model to reselling or hybrid reselling, so you could actually get good products if you engage in white labeling without you designing it, right? And it's often less expensive compared to private label, and you get a brand recognition also. So you still have your brand recognition. So in case tomorrow you want to get into the business, you can slowly shift into the business. So that is the advantage. Okay, yeah. So there are questions you need to ask. There are questions you need to ask when you want to choose a white label, because it's not every white label provider that is good enough to take care of your needs or your future plan or your market plan, even your customer expectations. One of the questions you need to ask is, do they provide branded caller ID so that you can actually get call from your customer directly, or they can actually get a call from your customer directly, and receive those calls on your behalf, through your phone. For example, if customer has to call you and you think that for some reasons it's better they talk to the manufacturer because they might ask some technical question, are they able to receive the call and still give you feedback like it was, they are part of your team? So this makes them an effective white label. Like the cable companies, they could actually receive calls, say, yeah, it's okay, our team will be there, then they will send you, go and do the job. Okay, yeah. The next question is, do they just sell a software solution but let you do all or most of the client interaction? If they do so, they are not really a very good white label company. The next question is, do they provide a dashboard under your domain name and cannot be tracked back to them? For example, you see like Fiverr and all of that. So if you have a company that provides a dashboard for you, but you cannot reach them to discuss with them, then on your behalf, then they are not a good white label company. So they're almost just like reselling. Okay, do they provide self-support, meaning they get calls with your prospect and even help you close the deals? Can they receive your call, talk about the product with the customer, and eventually close the deal? So this is a question you have to answer. If they do, then they're a good white label company. If they don't, they're not good white label company. So guys, in summary, whether white label or private label, they are, an easy way to get into manufacturing or get into product development. While private label might be more expensive, they also have very prestigious advantages. But at the same time, either of them will help you to start your business, start your production without having a production facility. So this is why they are an easy way to start manufacturing and get into business quickly. So I hope that this will help you to decide. You might decide to go, let's go back to a real life example. Like yesterday I talked about the underwear you can produce. You can go to a fashion designer, give him your product and let him make it for you. You might probably have some printing machine. After they make the t-shirt for you, just like what I'm wearing, never give up, okay? No pain, no gain. So you can have your own heat transfer machine, just make it, and after customizing it the way you want, probably you tell them that for all the shirts you want it to be folded twice. It's an own custom, design. So that makes you you can engage in a private label. But then you know that there are certain things you can just do with white labeling. Because private label has to go with a bit sophisticated design, right? Not just something very simple anyone can just copy and do. So, well, I'm going to wrap it up here, and I hope that this business video will help you to get into business. I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you.